In this screencast, we look at how to use a Cloud Foundry microinstance on AMI. We start by going to Amazon Web Services, logging in, and selecting the AMI that's been defined to be a Cloud Foundry microinstance. We change the instance type to an M1 small, which should be considered the minimum for Cloud Foundry, and then continue to enter some user data. The user data we're going to enter is going to be a password, and we'll pick a random one by using OpenSSL, and then enter as user data password : and then our special password. We see that we've got an 8 GB root device, so we'll use that. We can give a name. This is optional, but helps keep things clear in our instance list. And we can create a new key pair. This is used to connect to our running instance if we want. We'll name ours CF Demo and download the private key. The next is a security group which manages the firewall that Amazon provides. We're going to have an ICMP of echo request, and then SSH and HTTP. Then we can say launch the instance after reviewing things. Then click on the instances on the instances page, and we see that we have a CF micro. Now we can log on to it. This is optional, but it gives us a chance to log on to our server and look at things. We'll use the private key file that we were given, and then we will use Ubuntu as the user and take the public DNS that Amazon has given us as the name of the server. We can log in or say yes to add, but we find that the private key is unprotected. That's a common mistake, so change it to read only by the current user. Then we can connect to the server. At this point, we are logged on to an Ubuntu machine, and we can look at various operations. So here we see that the Monet jobs that are running that have various things going on. So far, not much is happening, but if we tail the boot log, we can see that some things are running. We can also look at the domain, the password, and other things in our local directory that tells us how this machine is configured from the point of view of Cloud Foundry. The boot log now shows us more processes are starting. We can actually go and see the log files that Cloud Foundry is creating. So there's various log files. Now we see that all the processes are running except Cloud Controller Jobs, which is actually one that doesn't run normally. So we can now connect, and rather than actually logging in, we can simply use SSH to do certain commands, such as show me the password that's being used. Now this would have been configured automatically. Here I made the mistake of not putting in Ubuntu as the user. And so if you get a permission denied public key error, that typically means that you've failed to give Ubuntu as the user, and it's just defaulting to your local user, which does not have a key. At this point, we can go to a local directory on our client machine, create some files. In my case, I'm going to have a gem file that says use Sinatra on 193. I'm going to have a config.ru that tells us what to run, and then I'm going to have an env.program.rb program that, for example, will show a simple application in Sinatra that shows some environment variables. So env shows us our environment variables. At this point, we'll quit. We've run our application locally. Now we'd like to see what happens if we try to run it in the cloud. So we're going to set our target to our new machine. So CF target is going to be the domain, API, and then give that. Now it turns out this will fail because the target command needs to have an HTTP on it. So the operation timed out. So we're going to change it to say HTTP : and then the domain, API.domain. And at this point, setting the target succeeded. So we can now use the CF command login, give our password that we defined when we created our AMI, our Amazon instance, and then log in as admin. It's targeting that and reports that it's successfully authenticated. So now we can create a development space and set our target to that development space in Cloud Foundry. It gives an error. This error is safe to ignore. There's an issue reported already in the Cloud Foundry area for that. Now we'll map the domain to our domain address, host name. So we're mapping various things, and that succeeds. At this point, we can say push. And it asks for a name. We give it a name, memory size, subdomain, domain, and then it starts uploading our application. We've uploaded, now it's downloading it to a place where it's going to run, and it shows us the various steps that it goes through for running the application in Cloud Foundry. Once it's created a bundle, it starts running, and we can see that after a few seconds of testing it, it's now available to run. We can take the URL that it's given us, put it into a browser, and we are now seeing our application running on an Amazon instance in the cloud. We've just simply uploaded an application in a new Amazon instance. We can look at various information. We can see our list of apps. We could look at logs and files and so on. But at this point, we can simply terminate our instance since we no longer need it and clean up our environment. We terminate the instance so that we're no longer running, and then the other place is we need to go to our volumes, and once it's no longer being used, we can delete the volume. So under Actions, Delete Volume. And when we say yes, then it's being deleted and eventually goes away. So there we have Amazon.